All right, y'all. A dude just wanted a simple night today, but I just couldn't go to bed without talking about this. I couldn't go to bed without just sharing my thoughts on this manga artist over here. Well, this fake manga artist. I'm sure you guys know this guy. We're gonna talk about him just a little bit. Just a little bit. I just could not go to sleep without getting this off my chest. Right? We just need a simple examination of what this dude has been producing over the years, and then we can determine if truly he is serious about the craft. Now, he's a very, very high level artist. Definitely, I would say this guy is S rank in his own right. Very high level. This is a level I'll probably never get to, and that's fine. Why do I need to get to this level if it means I can never finish my work? What's the point? What's the point? I'm not here to just pursue likes, just to pursue all kinds of compliments, as we will see here. I am here to finish my work. I am here because I have something to say with my story that I cannot say with words, right? People in general can't even understand a lot that I want to say because they say I'm just a hater. And that's not true. So let's wait a while, see who else is going to jump in, because this needs to be discussed as to what's going on. And yeah, dude blocked me after I retweeted this saying, hey, where's your work, bro? Where's your work? Right? 4 or 5 years, not a single chapter, not even like 2 pages. What's going on? Right? So let's wait a little bit for some more bros. And I realize that the true number of hate watchers is just very high, man. It's very high because you want to see one hunchback here on Twitter, dude commenting on all my ish, and that's about all he comments on, just my stuff. And we're going to look at this hunchback and see what the hell his problem is. I'm having my tea. Okay, well, let me get into it because, man, I do be tired. Alright, so recently, I retweeted this guy. I've been following him for years, ever since on Facebook, right? I retweeted and quoted saying, this is after the fact. Let us go to the first thing I did retweet, which was this. So he had made a post, which you cannot see on my profile because he has blocked me, right? His original post stated this. It's the pinned post. He says, it costs $0 to support a fantasy mangaka. In my mind, I'm like, bruh, you might have the skills of a fantasy mangaka, but where is the manga? Where are the pages of your manga? We still don't know what the story is about. I remember this dude, I think in 2019, when France was having its PSYOP staged crises, right? The Yellow Jackets or whatever. Social media, mainstream media saying France is on fire. And then I had multiple people on the ground telling me, bruh, that's just the internet. Things are just fine over here. I mean, it's not perfect, but just fine. I remember him using The social media controversy about France being on fire, that he is deciding not to continue with his story because times are tough. And at the time, I understood, like, okay, man, hope you get back on the horse. Years later, he did get back on the horse. But it seems that he came back only to post a few pinups, right? But to still call himself a manga artist. You are not a manga artist if you ain't got no sequential pages. You're not. You can't be. You're a fraud if you are out here calling yourself a manga artist, right? And what makes this very, very much so worse is the fact that this guy is very entitled to receiving likes, comments, and followers. He demands respect. He demands support, right? Retweets are just fine. Compliments are just fine. He doesn't need the money, as he even says here. Basically, it costs nothing to support a fantasy mangaka. So I reposted this, right, stating it costs more than money. It costs our time and energy to support a mangaka that'll never release a second chapter. And because of this, he blocked me. Now, when I block people, I block them because they're just a bunch of hunchbacks. But in this case, for him to block me, it's like, bruh, it's not like I'm making fun of you or I don't understand you, so I'm making fun of you because I don't understand you. That's what a hunchback does. I am pointing out the fact that you call yourself a manga artist, but you don't have a single page, right? These look like giant pinups, right? These don't look, okay, they kind of look like they belong in the manga, but ultimately, do they? Do they? This is just a showcase of your skills. It's very nice, dude. Like, hey, a lot of us will never reach this level. Definitely amazing work. But that's not the problem. No one's here making fun of the fact that you can't draw or your drawings suck or whatever. The problem is that you are claiming to be something you're not. And others can say, well, what's the problem with that? What the problem with that is that everybody running around claiming to be what they're not, well, it creates a disingenuous ecosystem where everybody just needs to pretend to be something to get the most likes, and then nothing gets done, right? And then if you are somebody who actually gets something done, you get hated on, right? That you get hated on, they diss your work even though they never read it. They just have a negative bias towards your work because of you. They hate you, so they automatically want to hate your work. They will lie about you, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it's completely insane. Now, here's another thing I want y'all to see. So this dude got a YouTube, right? He got a YouTube. And let's see how many videos he got over here. He got 5,000 subs. So the last thing he posted was a time lapse of this character 3 weeks ago. But this guy has been in existence here on YouTube for a while now, for the last 4 years, right? For the last 4 years. There was massive expectations for this manga to drop because the art is that fantastic. There was massive expectations. I mean, look, 4 years ago, right? The Kingdom of Red Mages time lapse, 6,000 views, right? People were looking forward to it. And this participation in hype culture only for something not to drop really demoralizes people. It demoralized me, and it left a very, very sour taste in my mouth as to, I guess, indie creators cannot be trusted. They are not consistent. They take no accountability whatsoever. They come and go and do as they please. If you're trying to build a fan base, if you're trying to, build a business for yourself, you cannot just close shop and go here and there and do things however you want. There has to be a general expectation that you need to fulfill to the audience, right? You can't just be doing this whatever way of operating just because you can. It's disingenuous, right? Now, some hunchbacks say I'm disingenuous. I don't even know how, right? Why am I disingenuous? Oh, just because. Yeah, you're retarded. See, somebody accused me of that. But you see, the YouTube being like dead isn't really the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. You go to his link tree, you want to see like 10 links, bro. There are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 links. 16 links, and none of them take you to a website or a page where you can read a single page even. This guy has been in development of this work of his for the past almost a decade now, and still nothing has been produced. Nothing. The guy legit recycles things. I mean, look at this. He posted this when? July of this year. And then he posted it again 4 days later. Seriously? And then, of course, he recycles using the time lapses and so on. But this is the real issue. People like this, despite a very high skill level, there is no intention whatsoever to actually create a story and finish it. He's not interested. And if you're wondering why does that matter, it matters. Because people who have an interest in the works outside of the establishments, outside of the institutions, right? They see this behavior and they no longer want to give the rest of us a chance. They don't want to give the rest of us a chance. So the second thing I said was, this is an example of drawing for compliments. It's been 4 years since I followed this guy, and still there aren't even 5 pages we can read. He's got 10 links on his link tree, 16 actually, and none of them take us to his website to read what he claims he's been working on. And I got blocked for this, right? I got blocked for this. Like, you can block whoever you want, man, but if you want to block a dude for just questioning, where's your book? Where's your first chapter, bro? I mean, honestly, let's go back to his profile. Let's go back to his profile real quick. I want you all to look at some of the captions. So, it costs nothing to support a fantasy mangaka. This shows that the dude is entitled, right? This is an entitlement. Yet somebody made we're gonna look at this retarded monkey over here. This guy exists just to hate on me. We have a monkey retard, another one. Oh, and he responded to me saying, unfollow me then. Well, bro, I was about to, but then you blocked me before I could, so hey. You see, this guy, Mauricio, says, we are not owed anything. Why don't you tell him that? Why don't you tell him that? Him saying it costs $0 to support a fantasy mangaka, why don't you tell him that you aren't owed anything, bro? You're not owed even our attention, our support, our care, our energy, our anything, right? Why don't you tell him that? Why do you tell me? Why do you tell me that this guy does not owe me a finished product, yet he's out here pretending as if he's going to finish his product? Why do you tell me this and not him? Now, I don't know who this Mauricio guy is, but most likely he has a negative bias towards me. But if he truly does not know me, right, and he says what he's saying, he's obviously a ultra fanboy of this guy, of this fake manga artist, right? And that's the real problem, is that there is no way to course correct any human being anymore when there are Mauritius out here who's just going to say something that is even applied to the person that he is trying to defend, right? It doesn't make any sense. So it's impossible to course correct. Now, I ain't trying to course correct anymore. I see that it's impossible. To correct somebody? No. These people don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be. They want to continue to worship and guzzle the testicles of whoever they worship, regardless if the guy is lying or pretending. So here's another post showcasing his arrogance, his absolute entitlement to your attention, to your validation, right? It is insane. Notice how many times he writes over there. My art is good. The algorithm just ignores me. My art is good. It's a flippin' mantra. Okay, sir, Anthony, now that you have stated and said your mantra, do you feel any better? Are you happy that you got 14,000 likes? Is that equaling $14,000? Are you happy that you got 185,000 views and 135 comments, people rubbing your chest with Vaseline? Are you happy? Are you happy that just one picture of yours has gotten 14,000 likes from people you don't know? People who probably just liked it. This, to me, is something that cannot be respected. I can't respect this, right? Your entitlement to people's attention, your entitlement to people's validation is rather disgusting and narcissistic. I don't give a damn how great your art is, because you're not the only great artist out here. What we care about is the story that you have to tell. And clearly, you don't have one. You have the mindset of a hunchback. Hunchbacks want to drag other people down, or they just want validation for their cheap existence. And so, let us look then a little bit at all these comments that he was so desperate to get, right? So this guy says, remember seeing your work before, thought Miura had made a one-shot while not working on Berserk. Nice to finally find you again. Welcome back, he says. See, this is exactly what he was looking for. The comparisons of his work to the legends. Congratulations, bro. Your artwork is indeed legendary, but you don't have a story. We do not know Miura of Berserk because of his art. We know him because of his story, because he had something to say. You, on the other hand, clearly have nothing to say. You must be an empty-headed, empty vessel, talented hunchback that was fortunate enough to develop his skill to this degree, but sadly has no substance to use this artwork to actually inspire the masses. You just exist to have people give you a little bit of sugar here and there. This guy says, I like this art. The panel composition and subjects really spark Kentaro Miura for me. Happy you like it. This is so lame. The algorithm might ignore you, but I won't retweet it. Gay. This is omega pathetic, bro. This is omega pathetic. This is some childish garbage. People out here want to build their sand castles on the sand next to a tidal wave. And I am out here saying, yo man, I want to build on the rock, not on the sand. How about we go build up there? Nah, bro, we good. This is much quicker. It is much quicker to build a sand castle, right? You building on the rock is going to take too long. So we want immediate compliments for our very nice sand castle. And as the hunchback gazes upon the nice sand castle and compliment it, they look at my castle built on the rock, still being built, and say, ha ha, you're not even there yet, and yet I am the one building on stone. Well, these people are building on sand. But they don't care. D Zillow, it says, bruh, like I said on Twitter earlier, I found out about this guy during quarantine, and since then there's no one shot discussion about the story, anything. Just reposting the same old photos over and over. Right? It's crazy. Asking for support and financial aid while not delivering anything either. Exactly, man. You understand this. But Mauricio over here will defend this behavior. You know? Will defend this behavior. Now, real quick, let's jump and talk about this hunchback goofball here. Look, man, I'm gonna block your ass, okay? But I wanted to block you after I have spoken about you, right? It seems you know where I live, right? Which is interesting. It's possible that you are South African. How's about you come to the mall in Bombela, bro? Let you and I meet at Ilanga Mall, right? Let's go and have a conversation at Wimpy over there. Are you man enough to do that? I want to see exactly what you look like, because I doubt that you look like this guy. You probably do look like this guy, but you're most likely not this guy. I want to see you, right? Come through, because all your hating of me, it makes no sense. It is just rage, because I say and do the things you can't do. You're just that mad, right? It is rather sad, not even sad, man, but this is exactly what hunchbacks do. The only thing they got is lying about you and talking smack about you. It's just crazy. I mean, just look at this. Dude telling the folks, understand that Muzi just started selling his sorry book on Amazon and nobody buying it. Yeah, I've been selling my book digitally for the last 2 years and plenty of people bought it. But he ain't gonna say that. You see, who gonna want to buy my book right now anyway at such short notice, especially when the tariffs went up? This monkey retard doesn't understand that this doesn't affect me. This is not about me. This is about all of us. They are pricing us out of our own hobbies. Because this dumb mother effer has never created anything, he does not understand the hurt that one can feel that your own fan base might not be able to afford what you're selling, because the price is unfairly marked up. See, this is somebody who doesn't do anything, right? But this is clearly somebody who watches me a lot. He knows about my grandma being a witch doctor. He knows about me and grandma's cookies, right? This is somebody who's probably watching right now, right? How interesting. Dude out here saying rest in peace to all the artists involved. Coffee's gonna sink the ship like he sunk on Sulgo. Where is the evidence for this? Huh? Where's the evidence that Onsulgo has been sunken by me? Last time I checked, Onsulgo posted, and I was tagged on Instagram, that some fresh material came out. I mean, this is all these hunchbacks can do. But anyway, I just want to give you some shine, bro. Now I can get rid of your dumb monkey ass by blocking you, because you're not arguing any points. You know, you're not presenting any cases. You're making things up. You're saying I sunk on Sulgo, no evidence. You're saying grandma's cook. Man, get the hell out of here. Anyway, let us return to Anthony over here. Anthony, you're out of order, bro. I don't know if you want to watch this, but if you do and you start crying, too bad. You can't be out here with flipping 16 links, bro. 16 links, and none of them show us a single page that you have created. You are recycling material. Ay, Chihuahua. In fact, let's keep scrolling over here. Let's see. This was posted, in fact, if we go to his art station, let's look at the art station real quick. Star Keeve says it may be some sort of scam if it's true. Most likely a scam. Young Wavy in the house, we are outside of the main marketplace. So the sales we get right now, So the sales we get right now are to survive and grow. Yeah, pretty much. You know, I'll talk on that just now. So I hope this portfolio is going to show us the dates of when things were posted, because this will expose indeed that this guy was never serious. I've seen these pictures on Facebook, right? Now, this rock over here, when was this posted? Posted 6 months ago, really. And then here on Twitter, it was posted afresh on August 18th, a couple of days ago. How ridiculous, bro. How absolutely ridiculous. This is a 6-month-year-old practice painting, and he's posting it as if it's new here now. This is what we do in Coffee Comics, bro. We expose things. This is complete and utter madness. How do I get out of here? I want to see one of the characters. When was this posted? 3 weeks ago. When was this posted? 6 months ago. And it's fairly recent over here. August 21. Dude is recycling. Absolutely unacceptable. Oh well. Anyways, let's quickly reassess this whole tariffs thing. So the price of my book went up, and it's not just mine. I spoke to another artist recently who's not even selling through Amazon but through another distributor. They beefed up his price as well. They beefed up his price, and for whatever reason, he's making a couple of cents less. People want to think that this is just about me. You're out of your mind, bro. I was at work today talking to the manager. He told me that the tariffs thing is ridiculous. Now, when we import Dungeons and Dragons material coming to this country, it costs more. So for people who want to get into or want a basic guidebook to Dungeons and Dragons, that costs about, it literally costs $100 for a guidebook of Dungeons and Dragons. $100. Now let's even search here. Dungeons and Dragons book. This matters. Everything I'm sharing right now, it matters, because again, if you want to live off this, right, your artwork, it's imperative that you take it seriously and don't do what this guy's doing, recycling stuff and lying and hyping things up that will never come out. But I am angry with this guy because he's making everybody look bad in the indie space. Of course, this guy's going to drive a lot of traffic to his stuff because his art is that good, right? But he's not serious about it. He literally lives for the sake of attention. But anyway, let's quickly see a price for, Dungeons and Dragons 2024 Player Handbook. Yeah, this is, how much is this? This is $40. This is $40, right? But by the time it reaches the shores of South Africa, it's $100. This is pricing people out of hobbies. When you have a society that have no access to partaking in classical hobbies like this, what do they turn into? They turn into savages, where the only hobby is the liquor bottle, right? I mean, it should not be so bad, the things I'm saying, because I live in a place where it was only after Nelson Mandela, really, that the majority of people in this country began to have access to nice things, right? But access to nice things has disintegrated in the last 30 years, not because of the politicians here messing things up, but because of the globalists, of course, pricing everybody out, creating a huge economic disparity, right? Destroying the middle class, destroying the bridges that could build wealth. When I tell people that you need to hurry the hell up, it's because I could see that they are destroying the bridge to wealth. Dumbass people like Mashiro and that one hunchback, they aren't doing anything, right? So they mad that we are trying to cross this bridge to wealth, and they want to stop us because they gave up. Dean Zilla says, off topic, but a question about Coffee Originals. If you guys are releasing issues and chapters seasonally, how do you plan on finishing the series on a time frame, or the schedule just for the moment? The series, well, um, hmm, I, I don't know how to answer that, bro. Because at the end of the day, if everybody releases 2 chapters per season, right? There's 4 seasons in a year. 2 times 4 is 8. That's 8 chapters. That's 1 book. That's 1 book a year, basically, right? So everybody can have a compilation of their chapters compiled in a volume by the end of the year. I think that's perfectly good and fine. 1 book a year is literally the bare minimum, right? So that's how it's going to be done. Quarterly releases are typically not 1 chapter. They're bulk packaged into 1 quarterly release. Oh, yeah, Wavy's right about that. In Japan, that is the general expectation. But obviously, we're not in Japan. We cannot work at that level and dish out material at that speed because we have other things to do, unfortunately. Our attention's divided and, got jobs and stuff like that. So, from a Westerner's point of view, yeah, we gotta do it the way we're doing it. It's the bare minimum. If you're in Japan, by all means, go all out, right? I recently though discovered or thought about the marketing strategy for manga artists outside of Japan. And it's usually not just controversy, but there is an element of being that personality. I know we spoke about this, right? Oh, look at that. Young magazine retweeting this nasty picture. Oh my goodness, it got 15,000 likes. This is exactly how I love my childhood friends to lovers. BL to start. Man, the whole thing is rigged, bro. Just have 2 dudes again on top of each other and you're gonna get all kinds of likes. Man, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. What's Chris doing over here, man? What is this? Oh, is this the second chapter now? Oh, you all about that Kickstarter again. Oh, this is the chapter 1. Is this just for chapter 1? Oh, 1 and 2? Okay. Well, I'm interested in seeing what chapter 2 is about. But anyway, I recently thought about musicians and how they carry themselves, especially, I don't want to say indie musicians, but musicians outside of the mainstream. If I were to give an example of who this is, not Tyler the Creator, but he's become mainstream. I want to use the example of Roy Woods. You guys might not know Roy Woods. I want to go to his Instagram. This guy makes he makes great R&B type music. He's like a mixture of Michael Jackson and a bit of Drake. But anyway, what I noticed about marketing strategies in the West is that what matters is that you're selling a lifestyle. You see, yes, Roy Woods is a musician, right? But remembering Nicholas Diaper Ivy, the guy blocked me and everything. So he himself sells the lifestyle aesthetic of being a quote unquote popular artist, right? And it's this type of material that gets the most engagement when you look like you're successful. Now, I would say Roy is successful. Not he doesn't have that Drake money, no, but the guy sells out at events. People come and watch his stuff. They buy his albums, and so on. So I'm like, okay, what if we took the approach of musicians? Now, artists, we want to be like the Japanese, right? Because if I continue to scroll here, who is this guy? This is a Japanese artist I follow. And why exactly did I start following this guy? I need a better one to use as an example. We cannot, in fact, here's Irene. We will also use her as an example. Come on now, some other Japanese artists that I follow. Him, the creator of Mononogatari, one of my favorite manga. Well, used to. Honestly, the story got whack. If we look and assess at how he markets himself or what his social media looks like, it's legit just the promotion of the work. Just that. But unfortunately, if you are outside of Japan, the people outside of Japan don't really care about the work. They care about you. They want to support you if they can relate to your branding. You see? And if you look at Roy Woods here, he honestly is no different to Nicholas Diaper Ivy in terms of social media content, right? Now, Woods is legit and serious about what he's doing. Diaper Ivy is just sucking on lollipops, right? But this aesthetic, it appeals greatly to the American Negro, right? It really does. It shows that the dude is in control of his life. He's cool, he's got drip, and surely his music is dope. Why? Because he looks dope. His music is dope because he looks dope. Luckily, his music is dope, right? But if you look dope, there is a cognitive bias that takes place in people's minds that automatically make you believe that his music must be cool also. This means that a lot of us who actually want that attention, you're going to have to do what Roy Woods is doing or what Nicholas Diaper Ivy's doing. Diaper Ivy will always have more views than all of us because he's promoting himself as this artiste, living the life, showcasing his lifestyle, right? All the highlights of his life and so on. He does exactly this. You're not going to see a Japanese person do that. Like this artist over here, we go to his gallery. I mean, at most, you're going to see him posting pictures of, nice scenery, I guess, where he was walking around. But you see how good this guy is? A lot of my rendering style, I got it from his manga, but he's advanced so much so after he finished his manga. But notice here, man, there is not a single picture showing his lifestyle that much, except for this, I suppose. This was a celebration for what? The anime? The anime was butchered. The other day I had the opportunity to participate in the wrap-up party for the anime. I realized anew that far more people were involved and had a deep attachment to the work than I had imagined. Well, I'm so sorry that they screwed up your anime, bro. But either way, the majority of his posts are about the work. They're not trying to sell you a lifestyle, right? An aesthetic. But if we are outside of Japan, this might be something you have to consider. And not everybody's picture perfect. A lot of people are 7,000 pounds, hairy in the wrong places, and just don't have the drip. Don't have the camera face or aesthetic whatsoever. It sucks, man. But to be honest, I don't think you have a choice if you want that next level attention. Honestly, you're gonna have to use every aspect of yourself. Now, if we assess Irene over here, right? Irene draws American comics, but with manga influence. And she got her own website that is very well, put together. Very well put together. She is also a very high level artist, though I do not like how she draws the faces. The faces are rather ugly. But anyway, aside from that, Irene puts herself on the cam like that. She always has. And, being a girl, she automatically has an advantage. She got that cool girl aesthetic. Okay? She got the tattoos, not too much, not too in your face and nasty and blah, blah, blah. She's that cool girl, right? She is using everything she got, right? And that's fine, because at this point, it looks like it is what you're gonna have to do. Although Irene does not showcase her lifestyle the way Diaper Ivy would, right? Or how Roy Woods does it, of course. No, she doesn't really do that. And that's cool, but I bet you if she did, she would get more attention, right? I bet she would get more attention. Now the main question is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? You literally have to be that guy. Now, Nicholas Diaper Ivy, the guy definitely is camera friendly. The dude has that I'm that guy element if you don't know him like that. So, well, you don't know him either. I followed the guy for years. I know he's a bitch ass nigga, right? And I've spoken to him. He's a bitch ass nigga. When you realize that, okay, Nick, you're just a sissy boy, aren't you? You can't respect him. You see that behind that drip is an insecure little rat trying to hide behind all that cool factor, right? Because you have no substance. This is why Nicholas Diaper Ivy could not finish a single work of his, and he never will, right? I want to do a proper roast on him, don't worry. Another one. He went back to drawing comics, even though he said he'll never draw comics again. And he was kind of making fun of people for drawing comics. But anyway. Ryuga says there's a whole video explaining friendships aren't gay, and the guy said it's fine on purpose by corrupt people or something. Yeah, of course. What's up, Kobe? Have you read the manga Kago Bacho? Nah, I haven't. Todd McFarlane was a marketing genius. He exaggerated his heroes to attract attention. He used to draw covers, show his mom the cover for a second and tell him what she saw. Just genius. Yeah, McFarlane broke the, I want to say the status quo, but I remember a documentary about McFarlane in which the editors at Marvel said, do not draw the way you draw. Don't make the lines too thick. Don't make the spider webs of Spider-Man the way you're making them. And he said, nah, screw you. You're limiting my creativity. So he definitely was a genius, and he saw how he can beef things up, and leaving Marvel was a good idea. Prioritize the work, that's what lives on. And the result of that is that you'll never be forgotten as the artist. True that, Wavy, true that. What we talking about? We were talking about this guy. This guy is a fraud. He's a con man. He's creating pictures of manga to get attention and likes. That's it. That's all he's doing. And then he's got 16 links over here that only takes you to a portfolio and pictures, not pages, pictures he drew a million years ago. So he's a fraud. And every fraud that is in the indie space out here pretending that they are working hard is only giving us a negative look, because the consumers want to buy, guys. Working at a bookstore, like today, a lot of dudes came into the bookstore today. They wanted to buy some books, but as soon as they saw the price of something, they said, dude, I don't have the money for that. A long time ago, I would have been like, you broke ass person. But actually, now I'm like, no, this is actually unfair. A book should not cost this amount of money. It's not fair. It's too expensive. What do you expect people to do? If we're going to be priced out of hobbies once more, then what are people going to do? They're going to go to the liquor store. I do think that the oligarchs creating this massive disparity is actually what is going to trigger the reset. Because if you have all the rich people to themselves and all the poor people to themselves, what the rich neglect is that the rich are actually pretty dumb. They're actually pretty dumb. They hire smart poor people to manage everything. I would call myself a rather intelligent poor person. I'm poor, obviously. But when the oligarchs decide to close themselves off and price us out of everything, yes, somebody like me who's smarter than the hunchbacks, if I'm not killed by the hunchbacks for being smarter than them, I can use the hunchbacks to overthrow the oligarchs. You see, in the end, it is the duality of this existence that there must be poor and rich, smart and stupid, right? So on and so on. It's dualistic in nature. You cannot extinguish intelligent people, even though the majority of people are retarded right now. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. What you're supposed to do as a smart person, well, is take advantage of the dumb, right? Our disadvantage as smart, intelligent people is that we have dignity. We have dignity and a bit of respect for your fellow man, in which you don't really want to bamboozle them. You don't really want to lie to them and use them because it's morally wrong. Now, morality is essential to society, but the one who can use morality to his benefit is the one that succeeds. And this is a conditioning that every smart individual should realize and be like, will that morality provide nice food on the table? Or are you just going to be grateful that you're eating bugs and cockroaches and dead rats? Are you going to just be grateful for the handouts? No. And it's not wrong to use your intelligence for yourself. In the end, you do benefit others who follow closely to you. Might not be as intelligent as you are, but they'd like to be. And they respect you for it. But anyway, this pricing out of things is just not the way to go. Zenku says, I'm amazed how many people get caught up in their own isolation and complain online, many of whom actually have a large following but no interaction. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. This guy, being French, he has no excuse. You in France, right? And, well, I see the Japanese flag over there. Basically, so what? You have access to Japan and France, right? Your art is that good that the Japanese would open the door for you. You are in France, where there's a giant manga market and you are not capitalizing it. You are so isolated in your little basement dungeon and you start moaning and crying and complaining online. What the hell for? Some of us are in countries that have no market for the things we love. Some of us are so poor we can't even get a ticket to Japan. But you do. And this is what you do. This is disgusting. Attention seeker, it's sad because people see this guy as a representation of the indie market. Yeah, exactly. I follow the guy, can't believe he doesn't have anything yet. Bro, it's almost been a decade at this point. What pissed me more was Meat Canyon making his manga $60. Like, what can I get an actual manga for cheaper? You see, yeah, Meat Canyon, hey, the guy is talented in what he does. He's horror cartoons commentating on the madness of our current society. Good on him, right? Good on him. But him pricing a manga for $60 is some BS. It's some serious BS. And it's like, bruh, you have enough money, Meat Canyon. Like, really, you do. Can you just chill? This has made me reevaluate how much I should charge for Coffee Originals, the magazine. I also was going to actually do a premium price and do limited runs. But I cannot be part of the problem here. I just can't, man. I don't want to price people out of what should be cheap to have. Books, comics, manga. This should be cheap. It's made of paper, for goodness sake. It should not cost this amount of money, $40. Right? Pricing my book basically at $20. No, man. Manga volume is like $12 for 20 chapters. What? Dude, for 20 chapters, you mean two? Nah, it's $12 for roughly 200 pages, bro. 20 chapters cannot fit in one manga book. So, nah. Wow, I know numbers don't mean crap anymore, but I follow the guy because I really enjoy his art, but seeing this kind of, like begging for likes is a huge turnoff. Of course. It's a major turnoff. This is pathetic. Look at this mantra he wrote here. My art is good, the algorithm just ignores me. This is omega pathetic, bro. Look at this. And he responds to, if not all of them, he responds to all of these guys. He loves the glaze, gross. Even though the algorithm is the blame for most artists not getting attention, the art space in general is like the high school lunchroom table all over again. They should have known that beforehand. There was no way of knowing, bro, until you got to the lunchroom. There was no way of knowing, you know? And I ain't trying to clean up the lunchroom anymore. I'm just at my own table, eating my sandwich like a civilized person. Whoever wants to come sit at my table, come on through. Just eat like a civilized person. Don't be throwing no bananas, right? There ain't no mess on my table, right? But we are in the lunchroom. He's begging with no product. Exactly. You want people to read your manga, you have to make it an option. Don't make it more expensive. Like if I have to choose between a Dragon Ball manga and an Apple Black manga, the only reason I choose Apple Black is pity. Yeah. Meat Canyon manga is merely an adaptation of his Melvin series on YouTube. So it being $60 for one book is pure heresy. Agreed. I totally agree. We got James Witt in the house. What's up, man? Peep how the guy didn't have any response on how he didn't have any product out since quarantine, but managed to respond to all these comments. Exactly. And a lot of these comments, some people say, hey, I've been following you for a while, like this guy, Remember seeing your work before, right? Thought it looked like Kintaro. Nice to finally find you again. Welcome back. This hunchback of a person here ain't gonna be like, yo, dude, I remember following you, seeing you years ago, and now I'm here and you still got nothing for me? What have you been doing all these years? So, Dr. Stone has some volumes of 200 plus pages for like $10. Yeah. 40 plus page chapters, so only 4 or 5 chapters. You see, we cannot compare really mainstream manga to indie manga. We can't really do that, because right now we're gonna go to Amazon. We're going to assess, let's say, Dragon Ball Super manga, or Dragon Ball manga. I mean, just look at this. A flippin' box set of 16 volumes is $96, right, for 16 books. And Meat Canyon was selling his for $60. Meat Canyon is somebody who didn't have to do that, but he did. But in general, in the indie space, because you don't have a massive institution handling all your, well, distribution and in-house printing, you do have to charge rather premium. Now, I just want one book per se, but let's just look at this. Dragon Ball Super Manga Volume 10 to 15 collection. So 6 books, all of it costs around $55. $55 for 6 books. This is what happens when you are pushed and published by, well, an institution. They have their in-house international printers like that. We don't. Now, the printers that I'm working with, they are international, sure, but I'm not supported by an institution. So they are going to jack up the price against my will. It's not fair, because somebody gonna be like, hey man, look, I want to support you, but you can't charge me $20 for one book. Just because your book is 200 pages, $20 for one book is outrageous. It's not me. I didn't charge that. I originally charged $16. And why 16? Because if I didn't charge 16, the amount of money I would be making per book sale would pretty much be non-existent. That's the only reason. But now, because of tariffs, or just, tariffs is just an excuse anyway, they jacking up the price. And of course, everybody in the mainstream, let's say somebody by some chance just lands on bloody hell. Oh, this looks interesting. They see the price. What in the hell? No way. No way. I can't do this. I'm not buying this. I'd rather buy this. Not because you don't trust what bloody hell has to offer, but mostly because bloody hell is too expensive for one book. It's too expensive. I understand that. But that's not me. I didn't do that. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And all this stuff is only going to get more expensive. So it's honestly profoundly problematic what we're going through over here. That's why I kept telling y'all that lollygagging ain't going to help you. By the time you're ready to dish out your stuff, you don't have a distributor of this scale. How much is Gachi Akuda here? Gachi Akuda in my bookstore was ridiculously expensive. Kodansha books in my store are the most expensive. This is $11. Not bad, but by the time it gets to my shop, I don't know why they buff up the prices so much. But regardless, right? Regardless, everything just gonna go up, man. Everything just going up. So eventually, selling digitally is gonna be the name of the game. That's until, they decide to tax you an ungodly amount for being on digital, right? So, I Chihuahua. What about releasing a bundle pack, $60 for a hoodie and a manga volume? Yeah, the hoodie needs to be purchased, bro. Because I did do my homework on this. I wanted to know if I wanted to sell a bundle pack, what is the cost of one hoodie and printing the inks on one hoodie? What is the cost of that? The cost is astronomical. I recently did research on how to make toys for bloody hell. They charged me like $2,000 because they needed, they tell you, we need you to print 200 of these toys. You're not going to print anything less than that. If we even go, let me show y'all, right? Let me show y'all. Alibaba. I went to Alibaba, right? And Alibaba is where you can get these cool toys over here, these plushies, right? I went to the source. Alibaba is the most well used in terms of manufacturing these types of toys. What the heck? Why can't I? Here we go. Custom plush toy supplier. It can look cheap when you look at assess like the different companies that can produce these toys for you, right? It can look very cheap until you click and they tell you how much it's gonna cost for them to deliver all your toys. Last time I checked on mobile, let's see. So this is a sweatshop where you can mass produce your toys, right? See how chunky and cool and adorable this is? I wanted these for Jacob. I found a local toy maker that charged me $2,000. And I said, go kill yourself. And then I found another local toy maker, but she charges like $40 per toy. And I was like, I understand, but that's not sustainable. Let's see. I'm trying to find the number where it shows us the cost of delivery. Okay, the number I got last time is $13,000. They can charge you perhaps maybe $1,000 to mass produce a bunch of these toys, right? But then the shipping cost is going to be $13,000. This is how you build an empire. You build an empire, right? Through merchandise. Todd McFarlane made millions because he made a toy company. He made a toy company while the market was so saturated or desaturated in a way. It was desaturated because the toys in the 90s were so subpar to the quality of toys that Todd McFarlane was producing. He saw an additional gap in the market. He said, if I make toys out of Spawn and other characters from Wildstorm or whatever, I could make millions, and he did. Now, fast forward to the time we're in now. If you don't have all that money, if you don't have $13,000 so that you can ship the toys, your plushies, well, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to make an empire. So let's see. Is it this one? Look at that. This is very high quality, man. This is very high quality. There is a guy that is part of Onsugo. He's very famous. I won't say his name. Maybe I don't want to get him in trouble, right? But he gets his toys made here in Alibaba. This guy goes to Comic Cons and he's able to afford blimps of his characters and billboards, depending on which Comic Con you go to, of course. But that is basically already thousands of dollars spent. So he has $13,000 to ship the toys that he makes all the way to America. Now look at this, right? How look this is how they get you. This is how they get you. $1, what the hell? 1 to $3.50 per keychain. Sounds cheap, right? But then they say minimum order is 50 pieces. Right? This is how they got me in the local toy store. They said, yo, we'll charge you this amount. And later on, they told me for each, and you need to order 200 of them. I was like, you're crazy. I don't have $2,000 on me. Are you nuts? But anyway, let's click on this. Let's see if this will give me the shipping costs. Let's see. Shipping fee and delivery dates to be negotiated. Okay, it depends which company you choose. These guys negotiate with you, others don't. I don't know. I don't remember which company I had chosen before. But ultimately, these are your options. This is how you build an empire. Now, Viz Media and all these other companies, Gachi Akuda, the artist of Gachi Akuda, she doesn't have to deal with the logistics that an indie person such as you and me have to deal with. The only thing that she's doing is drawing them pages. The company, the publishers, deal with everything else. Right? They deal with everything else. But you and I, we have to look at all this stuff. Now, are there local manufacturers in America? If you are there, yes. But it's still crazy expensive. Are there local ones here in South Africa? Yeah, if they charge me $2,000 here, bruh, just forget it. You know? Y'all can definitely expect more live streams like this on Patreon starting on Monday, right? On Monday, I'm going in, bro. So just go in there, $3 access for live streams like this, you know. And that Coffee Ultimate, where we're going to be live streaming with Wavy, because dude's got a trip planned. And tomorrow, actually going to be live streaming live from New York Comic Con, because one of the soldiers is at New York Comic Con. So y'all want to see, if you're not there, what's going on the ground. Only here at Coffee Comics. Toriyama said to Toyotaro to simplify his paneling, and he said, I'll keep that in mind. He didn't. It's bad enough it's drawn with no line weight, but with also bad paneling. Dragon Ball Super makes me feel like a zombie. Yeah, I understand, bro. Honestly, the paneling in Dragon Ball Super's manga, I don't hate it per se, but it is all over the place. It is. Yeah, this isn't even counting if it's full color, which is my plan. I think part of why some of these manga comics are so expensive is because they're a team of like 10 people making one chapter issue. Artists who can work everything solo can be more cost effective now. Yeah, in theory, bro, but you see what I'm telling you guys right here, all the logistics, bro. I mean, after all, I did my product myself, but Amazon still decided to beef up the price to $20. $20 for one book? That's insane. Gachi Akuda out here charging you $10. No, this is even $8, right? But as an indie person, even though you did everything yourself, they automatically, you have to charge slightly, not even slightly, you have to charge double this amount to make profit per book sold. If you are an indie artist doing everything yourself, you have to charge pretty much double that, right? It gotta be 16. And then Amazon is gonna apply some tariff action, and they decide by what percentage they're going to beef up the price, and that's going to discourage your own fan base from saying, I want to support this guy. What's up, Olaf? Yeah, you got to keep up with that walk, man. The business would be in the pre-sales of a limited run, maybe 100 bundles. The average cost for a hat is $15 and a volume print is about $10. $2,500. So once half the pre-sales come in place, that order. I guess, but it's still not that simple, bro. It's not that simple. You see, I am reassessing all of this because I don't want to make something seem too expensive, right? People need to have access to this stuff. This stuff is not worth the prices that they are selling us for. It's not. No book in existence is worth a premium price, honestly, like an insane price. No, it's not worth it. So, but I'll think about it. Yeah, but since my style is more realistic, it feels odd without color. Just a personal thing. Gonna have to eat the cost. Not gonna lie, 200 pages for full color sounds like it's gonna be like $80 per book. Yeah. These are all considerations that indie people need to, consider. But in all honesty, man, building an empire, making those millions of dollars, it's through the toys. It's through the toys. And look, Angel Lewis, I get it. You can make money from apparel, but I don't really care about apparel. It's a personal thing. I wanted the toys, bro. I wanted the keychains like this. I wanted accessories like this, right? It's just more appealing than an apparel. I still will do apparels, not a hoodie per se, but shirts. But yeah, I just had to rethink everything ever since these prices went up, I think indie creators should stay away from Amazon. I don't know what other alternatives out there, but it ain't worth it. Now, if you are selling directly from Amazon, yeah, you're pretty much getting screwed over. I'm not selling directly through Amazon. I'm not. The people I'm selling with, they sell through multiple channels, including Amazon. Now, I'm going to gatekeep that information. I mean, some people here already know it, but these hunchbacks don't deserve to know it, right? So, I agree. Amazon is not perfect at all, and they take a huge penny. For those who are on Coffee Ultimate on Patreon, I will show you what I did, and I will show you that if you in America, the profits that you can make from the website I use is very high, especially if it's fellow Americans buying from the American warehouse. In my case, I can't do that because I'm not in America. So if you're on Coffee Ultimate, you can stay tuned for that video. But anyway, if we quickly go back to, aside from all of this stuff, right? All this stuff, the logistics, just marketability of your brand. Looking at this singer and rapper here, Roy Woods, he is selling a lifestyle, right? He's selling a lifestyle with all of his images, on top of the world type thing. This is what it's like to be Roy Woods. And because he looks so cool, the dim-witted people be like, oh, then his music must be cool. So using that logic, you can apply it with the manga space as well, the indie manga space outside of Japan. We are not Japanese. We are not in Japan. A person outside of Japan who might even have art this good, right? is not going to receive the same support as a Japanese person by doing what the Japanese do outside of Japan. It just doesn't work. And I think it's high time to be dead honest about it. It just doesn't work. In the end, if you just post your artwork like this, you could end up, getting yoked up and becoming somebody like this. This guy only posts his artwork. And, well, he might get attention for recycling his stuff, but look at the social media gimmicks that he has to participate in, the mantras and stupidity that he has to dive into. You could say that if anyone were to use this type of marketing for their comic or manga, then they too are being stupid. Well, I don't think so. I don't really think it's being stupid. It's stupid if you don't actually have a product, right? Like this guy's retarded. He doesn't have a single page completed. So it is stupid. What's this for? You're just hyping people up for what? It's retarded. Nicholas Diaper Ivy, he's retarded too. Hyping people up and making himself look like this, but he ain't got no product. Roy Woods being a singer, imagine taking photos like this, but then he can't actually sing. He can't actually perform. You'd call him a fraud. So I think for those who can, I think you should experiment going this side of town, playing with that drip. And I know this means you are becoming an internet mascot. But what choice do you have? You're not Japanese. You're not going to receive the same attention as them. It just won't happen. If you do what Irene does, she definitely posts more of her artwork than herself. But Irene has one advantage. She's a girl. And she's not just an ordinary girl. She's that cool girl. She's got that cool girl aesthetic, right? Now, she is profoundly boring listening to her. I mean, that's when people are snapped out of the immersion, right? Is that, damn it, Irene, you look so cool, but you are so not cool when I hear you talk, right? But anyway, nonetheless, it is effective to attract the eyeballs, right? If you're outside of Japan, I do think you need to use everything you got, including yourself, and put yourself on that camera, right? Does this mean that I want to start doing it? Hey man, it's hard, bro. I never wanted to do it. I don't want to be no mascot. But what choice do you have? Now, of course, if you're trying to appease to the retarded people, you're going to attract them a lot. But if they are the majority and they still have disposable income, if you want to make extra bank, then you're going to have to look like a rock star, bro. That's just how it is. You're going to have to play the rock star game. It's not fair. It sucks. It's ridiculous. But if you ain't got the drip like this, then get a fashion expert to help you beef up your drip. Boss up. This is our new reality, bro. If you don't look cool doing what you are doing, I guess what you are doing isn't cool. That's the mindset of these people these days. What can you do, bro? What can you do? I agree, toys are where it's at for sure. We need a partnership with indie 3D printer owners. I've reached out to one of my generals reached out to a 3D printer, and it's fairly cheap to produce. The problem was getting a 3D modder, right? The 3D modders are so expensive, and without modding the character correctly, you can't print it in 3D. And these 3D modders are so untrustworthy, bro. Like, we've dealt with two already, right? Um, they are expensive and untrustworthy. I dealt with one that I was about to actually send him an email. Then I looked at his social media. The guy is a baked cookie monster, bro. I'm like, hell no, this dude can't help me. Regardless if he's talented, he can't help me. He's too blasted on drugs. He ain't gonna finish on time. This is the true issue here, is that we really can do it, but the lack of collaboration, bro. People just be lazy. They want to be spectators instead of participators. And all this stuff needs funding. Even if I partnered up with an American 3D person, which we kind of have, Coffee Originals kind of has, but without 3D modders, that partnership is invalid. It's completely invalid, right? It's these 3D modders that are just so impossible to deal with, bro. You can say, well, mod it yourself. I'm not an expert in that. You cannot be a master of everything. You just can't. You end up becoming average at everything. So, yeah, Onsugo has, we have a 3D printer. We do, but again, 3D modder. Yeah, it's not enough to sell your art anymore. Now you need to also sell the process lifestyle. Exactly, man. 3D modeler, that's something I've been wanting to learn. Those 3D modders will get replaced by AI soon. The thing is, with the AI mod, currently, it's not perfect. It's not perfect yet, but I guess in a year or two, it will be. And then we can stop dealing with these 3D modders. Am I promoting AI? Well, in the context of creating a toy, a 3D product toy, I'm going to use it. Best believe I'm going to use it, because it's not my fault that the 3D modders are either overly expensive or overly untrustworthy. It's not my fault. But we do have a 3D printer in Onsugo. It's been ordered. It's coming in. But Onsugo, as of yet, does not really have an official 3D modder, right? So that's the real problem here, man. That's the real problem. This explains why the creators seem to have much less money than one would think in relation to their franchises. Too much overhead and logistics expenses. Exactly. Nobody really assesses the logistics. But luckily, because Young Wavy, he's behind the scenes. And we got Black Swan behind the scenes. Tomorrow, when I live stream what's happening in New York Comic Con, you will get a portion of what it's like logistically, right? The travel costs from a different state to another state, right? The cost of a table at an event like New York Comic Con. Bruh, you cannot just do that. If you're an average person, you can't do it. You can't do it at all. So what is the best way to do it? What is the best way to cut logistics in half? To cut the buildup of creator trust? This is the best way. If you look like a celebrity, man, if you look cool, automatically people will just think you are cool, and that whatever you do is cool. So I'm considering it, man. I am considering putting the shades on, but the thing is, I'm afraid that it's rather unsustainable, because this is not who I am. I'm not a person like this. I'm just a nerd, I'm just a nerd, man. I'm just a geek. Now, I sure as heck can pull it off, but that's not who I am. And I think this piles on to feelings of anxiety because you are pretending to be something you're not. You see, all for the sake of selling. All for the sake of selling a product, but at the same time, this is the world we live in, right? I'm gonna have to go to the mall and hold some Jordans as well while holding bloody hell in my pocket, bro. Like, what? It just don't make no sense, but it does. It doesn't make any sense, but it does, right? People can say, oh, you're lying, Coffee. You're not even buying those Jordans, bro. You're just making it seem like you sold enough books, so now you can afford a new pair of Jordans. See, a few people will say that. But what about the new people coming in, seeing me try out the Jordans? They're not going to care what some people are saying. They're going to say, oh, these are haters. This guy looks cool. This guy got Jordans. What does he do? Oh, he draws manga? Oh, wait, it's MANAA? Oh, let me check it out. I mean, a guy as cool as him, surely he's all right. Surely what he's producing is all right. You're going to have to walk out of the Foot Locker dripped up like this. I'm going to have to walk out of Pick and Pay ShopRite, the grocery store, with big bags of chicken, right? With a bloody hell t-shirt, dripped out like this, walking to the taxi rank. Gotta show that jungle aesthetic. I gotta have a Shaka Zulu spear in the background, right? It's insane. It's performative, but now you can forget about the characters in your book. You have to become a character also, which is rather unfortunate. But obviously, Roy Woods has a team of people taking photos of him doing basic things like this. He has a team. And if you can't get a team, you're going to have to get a giant tripod. But these niggas could nig you. Like, oh man, let me take a photo of you, bro. I'll hold the camera for you. Dude is gone, bro. Real quick. Like, you're going to have to take pics next to a car you don't even own. Right? Oh, bloody hell. Right there. Man, it's crazy. Now, it's cool though. It'll be awkward in the beginning and cheesy and totally fake, but the people who come once you've mastered the fakeness, they are the ones who can support you the most. The genuine supporters matter. They are the foundation. They must still be fed the authentic stuff. So never disavow the real ones, the main ones. But for the sake of social media, I think this is all we got left, man. Really. That's true. Perception nowadays is everything. But the thing about this is the feeling of basically lying to yourself. Exactly. I say my fashion is pretty solid, but I don't like the idea of having to dress up for people who don't even know me. I know, bro. I agree with you. Man. But just because you're right doesn't mean you're right. Or I should say, just because you're right doesn't mean it matters in the real world. Because you're absolutely correct, but it doesn't matter that you're correct. This is the standard of the world. You gotta play dress up for people who don't even know you, just so that they can be like, you're dripped up. I found this guy's fashion cool. I like the lifestyle that he's presenting. Let me follow his stuff. Right? I'll give y'all another example. One guy that I'm subscribed to, Mike Thurston. This is a fitness influencer, totally on steroids, but he denies being on steroids. This guy is out here. He's a rich kid, but he's going to pretend that he's not. He's a rich kid, lives in Dubai and all that stuff. All of his videos, right, are pretty much showcasing the lifestyle of being a successful dude. What is he selling in particular? Is there a product that he sells? There is a product that you and I definitely will not care about. Now, he has his own clothing brand, He's got his apparel over here, but I bet you this thing ain't selling that much. It just ain't. It just ain't, bro. But his main product is actually this training app of his. Here it is. This is his main product, right? Who the hell is gonna use this? Like, for real, this is his main job, he claims. Like, bruh, shut up. You on stem cells and you take I don't know how many grams of roids per week to look like this, and you're gonna pretend like everything is natural. You worked hard to get this amount of money. No, you didn't. Trust fund kid. But point is, even somebody like him, who's got, the trust fund money, he wants to feel independent, and he wants to make a name for himself. Does not want to be in the shadow of his family. Cool. In order to do that, he needs to make his own brand, and he needs to sell something. The only thing he could sell is his t-shirts and his training app. You'll never look like him, no matter what you do, unless you take the roids as he takes the roids, right? But I'm showing all this because this is the standard of the world, right? I don't want to play dress up. You don't want to play dress up. But these people have a advantage over us because they play dress up. Nicholas Diaper Ivy, he will forever have an advantage over us because he plays dress up. Nicholas doesn't have a single book to his name. Just because he's working with DC, who gives a damn? That's not his book now, is it? The point is, it is clear from objective observation that the way forward is playing dress up. It sucks. It's unfortunate. If you're wondering, when am I going to play dress up? I don't know, bro. I need to process all of this myself. That, dude, how the hell are you going to play dress up in the jungle? Right? Dude, if I walk with my new Timberlands, like in the CBD area, bro, there's going to be a giant black van that stops, right? And just stops the car, opens the damn door, puts me in there, cuts me to pieces, and takes my Timbs. So, yeah, you can't just be dripped out anywhere. You have to be dripped out somewhere that is also safe. But man, is that awkward. But what I'm trying to make clear here is that we don't have the privilege to decide anymore as to, like, this is how we want to navigate ourselves. The world is filled with vanity. If you don't look like this guy, right, of course, a lot of us will never look like this guy, can't afford steroids, right? But if you get halfway where he is, looks maxing, it's an advantage. I mean, it's ridiculous that it's come to this, but hey man, I don't know what else now. Because you focus on just your work, right? You're gonna end up feeling like you're being buried under the algorithm, and then you're gonna have these mantras and crash out, right? You wanna be like Irene, cool, but Irene's a girl. Gooners are everywhere. She's got the cool girl aesthetic. Everybody's always gonna line up. Just on that alone, you're not Japanese. The Japanese can just post their artwork and few pictures of the sky like that, and they good. But we are not in Japan. We are in the other side of the world where people appreciate the lifestyle, right? So, yeah, what a bummer, bro. What a bummer. Do we have an example of an indie manga artist who's striving with this method or multiple for the sake of proof of success? Well, we do in terms of social media success. Nicholas Diaper Ivy. He is one who is successful, but he doesn't have a product, bro. If Nicholas actually had a good story, his art is pretty much C rank in my opinion right now. His art is C rank. He has no story. I don't know how good his stories can be, but ultimately, he already lives like this, right? He pretends he's a rock star. He pulls off the look of a rock star. The problem is that he doesn't have any book to sell. So if he did have books to sell, he would be successful. White manga, the guy is just a guy, right? He has no drip, he's got no sauce, got none of that, right? He's not even trying. He's just a guy. So his appeal and reach is profoundly limited. So I wish I could give you an example, but Saito says Brandon Chen. Brandon Chen isn't cool. Brandon Chen is a geek, right? If we go to Brandon Chen right now, his YouTube channel, Brandon Chen is a total geek, bro. He doesn't have no drip. He doesn't have no sauce. Now, luckily for him, I would say that dude, yeah, he's fairly handsome. No homo, right? The dude, he can look smack some more, chisel out and whatnot, right? But ultimately, he doesn't have drip. He just has the general Asian bias. You watch him, you look at him, and he's talking about anime and stuff. Automatically in your head is that he's Asian, so he should know what he's talking about. He's Asian, so he has some authority over here. And then on top of that, well, he's fairly good looking, so you can't hate on the guy. When you assess him though as a writer, and you look at all the things he's posted here, well, there's not much to chew on. I mean, when you actually watch his stuff, there's nothing to chew on. But ultimately, he is a decent example, actually. So you're right, Saito. He's a decent example. He doesn't present the rock star aesthetic, but he does present, you know, the I don't even know how to say it, but it's just a cool guy aesthetic, right? I did say he's not cool. He's not cool when you start watching him, but he does look cool until you start watching him. You see, Nicholas Diaper Ivy, he doesn't talk. He's never really on video camera, because when he talks, he's probably going to have a meltdown, right? So he's hiding just behind photos. But ultimately, there's nothing to learn here from Brandon Chen, right? There's nothing to learn at all. He can get the views he gets, but look at this, 200,000 subs, but roughly 3,000, 2,000 views. Crazy. This got 24,000 views because, well, look at what he's talking about, right? So, yeah. But who else? Brandon doesn't even make manga. Isn't he mostly manhwa writer? Yeah, webtoons. No one cares about webtoons. Here's the thing. Both Brandon and Mike Thurston are Silver Spoon babies. Thank you. That's another thing. Mike Thurston and Brandon Chen are Silver Spoon babies. And both live in expensive areas. Plus, Brandon used to work as a finance bro, but quit to pursue his dream. Exactly. You know, we truly cannot really compare our normal selves to a lot of these people. Brandon Chen did make it clear that, hey, I was a finance bro. I remember that video. Dude's still living in New York. Last I checked, New York was hella pricey. Right? Hella pricey. So he's a trust fund kid. Mike Thurston, trust fund kid. These dudes are traveling the world, dripped out to the max because they can afford it. They don't even do their own editing. They don't have to. They have like Omega people, Omega qualified people to do the editing for them and stuff like that, right? Mike Thurston sells the aesthetic of being, well, a bodybuilder and living, your best life. Well, good luck if you're just an average person. So, oh well. You had a conversation with someone before, and he mentioned how non-Japanese manga to the Japanese is like Japanese hip hop to Americans. Fire point. MANAA is a must. You and Wavy are a force. Thanks, Mike. We are gonna be one hell of a force indeed. We can do it. We can do it. And Wavy did mention the importance of selling your product at a fair price, because he's selling his magazines at a fair price. Let's see if I can find it on Amazon. Let's see. There's one word, Young Wavy Comics. Okay. Well, you guys know it's here. But point is, he made it very clear that, look, man, this stuff has to be accessible. Premium stuff is fine, but in the beginning, it's got to be accessible. I totally understand. I really do. So, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to pull off the rock star aesthetic? This would take like, it's not going to be a simple fix. Like, you have to have serious planning, bro. Like maybe 2, 3, 6 months of planning if you want to pull off this lifestyle rock star aesthetic. I mean, look at this, right? This is nuts. This is something, man, it just makes me feel icky thinking about it. That, oh, dude, you really want to do that? You want to go sit on top of a roof? Well, you got to do it in what is correlated to your own unique personality. I can't pull off a thug boy like this. I can't pull this off. But I can pull off something else, right? I can pull off something else, but man, that alone is 2 to 3 months worth of planning. So I don't know, y'all. Y'all have to make up your minds what you're gonna do, but now we know. Now we know. This has been over here, Anthony. You're a piece of trash, bro. You ain't got no product. You just want to get, complimented. You want people to rub your chest. Now that you got all these baby rubs, what are you gonna do next? What are you gonna do next? You're gonna wait another 4-6 weeks to retweet a picture that you already posted so you can get more likes? Are you that pathetic? You are a French person, most likely living in France. Yes, last time I checked, you were living in France. You have this Japanese flag, so you have access to Japan, and you're still sitting still, doing nothing. You're pathetic. You are a waste of space. People who are far more deserving should take your place, because you are not using your place adequately. Piece of trash. So screw all of this. Yeah, Luck, I don't blame you, man. I mean, if you were to go around there in Nigeria, bro, start dripping out, man. You know how them niggas gonna be like, hey, what are you doing, bro? But that time they dripping out also. In the context of shooting a music video, that's fine. But if you do it, then you're a weirdo. But in the end, it's discouraging, or it's foolishness, but it's reality. Just because you're right, okay, just because you're right does not mean it matters. It doesn't. So for me, I'm gonna process it and think about it. I believe in the beginning, readership is more important than actual sales. You have to garden an audience first. That's why person branding has been used by other industries. We all must adapt, I guess. You see, you understand, Angel. You totally understand. This is again, this is the new world. The new world requires that we become personal like this. I wouldn't know about Mike Thurston's app or clothing brand had he not made videos as he does. Had he not, shown the lifestyle, I wouldn't know about his product. I wouldn't know what he is selling. You see, we are not in Japan. It's something that few of us can actually achieve. Not all of us can be camera ready, but there's nothing stopping you from making yourself camera ready. Because you see the AI thing right now. Despite retards using AI, there's still one thing that they need. What they need is human connection. And that is why live streamers have a lot of money and have a lot of fans. Asmongold, Synthetic Man, and a few others who show even their goofy faces rotting in the basement with $1 million on hand. You will never know they have $1 million, right? Because they're in the basement with cockroaches, looking all goofy. If that goofy, roach-infested basement dweller can make $1 million by just sitting there and complaining about stuff, why the hell can people who are actually talented like the rest of us here, why can't we get our drip on and make that chicken bag also? There's a hesitation because this is not the type of person you are. It's not the type of person I am. There is the hesitation that your attention will be divided, and so you will barely be able to work on your stuff. This is something you're going to have to get around. But looking at Mike Thurston as an example, this guy never skips the gym. Never. In every video, you will see him go to the gym. The gym, in comparison to us, is the piece of paper, right? I wholeheartedly do not want to do this. I don't, but I am considering it seriously so. What else can we do? Not the behind the camera thing or the no camera aesthetic of building your brand is clearly not working. It doesn't work. You're never going to get as much as attention as Mike Thurston or Roy Woods or Diaper Ivy without doing this rock star aesthetic. You're just not. By showing some cool aspect about your life, even though you might live in a hut, you just gotta make living in a hut cool, bro. I see hut dwellers do cool things all the time on Instagram. But, oh well. It's kind of terrifying how the normies will praise most people who have the personalities of a cardboard cutout rather than someone who's actually unique and authentic to the fullest. Yeah, I agree. But it's because that cardboard cutout looks cool until you hear it speak. Then it is just nothing but cardboard, you know. But, you gotta make some compromises to make it, unfortunately. Yeah, I've been paying attention to your channel since White Manga's account hack. You hold a fort of hope and integrity for this industry. But I must say, to beat mediocrity, you don't become mediocrity yourself. Thanks, bro. I agree, right? Now, as a person that isn't mediocre, right? I'm not a cardboard cutout. I can pull off that aesthetic, not the rockstar one, but a different one, right? By different one, I'm talking about that CEO mafia boss aesthetic. I can pull that off. I can pull that off very well, but I don't want to. But it looks like I'm gonna have to. It's gonna require time. It's gonna require all kinds of investments, right? It's going to require a crew. I don't have a crew here. The crew I had, all a bunch of niggies that ended up ditching a dude because I was just too shiny for them, right? But no, I don't want to become mediocre. After all, Roy Woods doesn't look mediocre. His music isn't mediocre, thankfully. But you get people who don't look mediocre, but their music is mediocre. And I'm going to consider myself as I'm not planning on looking mediocre, and I'm not producing something mediocre. I know others will say, yes, it is mediocre. Yeah, whatever. But you get my point. Well, normies have the personalities of cardboard cutouts, so it makes sense. Most people worship what they are. Oh, snap. That's amazing, Wise Dragon. Many sheep and few shepherds. Most people worship what they are. That statement right there. You see, a lot of people here, I don't know if y'all look like Asmongold, bro. I don't know. Right? I don't know. But whatever you look like, there is a market for whatever you look like. I don't look like Mike Thurston. I don't come close to his physique. But it's definitely a physique I'm sure every guy would like to have. You just don't have the money for the steroids, and you're not willing to risk kidney failure, right? So ultimately, you look at Mike and you can aspire to be like him body-wise. Personality, he's a chilled guy. He's fake as hell, but he's chilled, right? He's likable. Can't really hate the guy. But that statement, normies worship what they are. Yeah, don't appeal to the retarded zombies. Be a boss man. If you are a boss man in general, just have that boss man aesthetic and whatnot, and you'll be fine. And sheep are easily persuaded. They are. Alright, bro, Asmongold is more than just a complainer. On the surface, yeah, he's got some gross hygiene habits, definitely. But the reason why people watch him is because he's objectively right a lot. Yeah, definitely. I just wish that with the millions of dollars he has, he can do something about it. Because if you are right about something, right, all the time, a lot, like Asmongold, but you do nothing about that something, even though you have the means to do it, you are a problem. You are a hunchback. If I had $1 million, I'm sure all of you know that I would have spent it wisely to fund what needs to be funded in this comic space. You know this. Asmongold, who's played I don't know how many video games with millions of dollars, could start an indie gaming company and show us how it's done. But he doesn't do it. So what am I supposed to think, bro? It's kind of the same thing with Corey Kenshin. He does have that swag appeal, but what makes him unique is that he plays video games while quoting the Bible at the end of his video. Bruh, can you imagine that? And all them people watching him, I bet you they ain't serious about no Bible, bro. I didn't even know that he actually quotes the Bible. Man, get out of here. That is some BS. Corey definitely represents, he says he represents black people. But, and I would not say he's got that cool drip action, bro. The guy's goofy as hell. I think he just represents the out there nerdy Negro. You know, yeah, he can dress cool here and there, but he's still a goof. He's still a goof, bro. So, Asmongold is the case of right message, wrong person. He predicts things and explains them. I used to write him off, but I got curious. Asmon even has his way of talking about zombies and casuals. Well, still, somebody should link Asmon and myself so I can tell Asmon, look, man, this is how you're going to use your money because you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to use your money. So let me show you what to do. right? But that's never going to happen. So he will forever continue to complain and talk about the zombies. People can say, I complain and talk about zombies, but at least I've done something about it. At least I made some books. I did what I could with what I have. You know, I don't have $1,000,000. And the people who have millions of dollars, they're not doing what they wish, they're not doing what they can do. That's the real problem here. You have the power to do something that can make a difference, but you don't. And you moan about it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like this guy as well. You complain about the algorithm, burying your stuff. Even if it didn't bury your stuff. What are people supposed to do once they found you? You have nothing to sell. There's no call to action. What's the point? You see what I mean? So, screw this, man. Anyway, that's it for now. How many hours was I going? I don't know. We start live streaming on Monday. I start live streaming on Patreon tomorrow on Sunday. It's already Sunday here. We're going to be going through the Torishima book, right? And we're going through some, carrying on from our previous reading, right? So, if you're on Coffee Ultimate, you'll be able to catch the live stream there. And hopefully Patreon does save. If you miss a live stream, I'll have to test it out, I guess. But, yeah. That's it for now, y'all.